Hello there fellow NPCs, I am Scythe and today we're going to continue to play The Ladder. We have just started off with Marianne's path into, well, whatever we want to call this game, this path to damnation, I guess it is. And we are starting with having a good start here, with having a tete-a-tete with Luke Wright, or more commonly known as Whiskey. And so yeah, we have just declined him some happy fun time in the sack, and he now demands some tea from us. And yeah, here you go. Now, without further ado, let's go. It's still unusual by the time we're both seated on my bed with mugs of tea in hand. I could agree to that, yeah. Do you actually have some depths to you? Now he has wanted to see it burn. The dead air is telling when it fills the room once more. Once one would think that it's the perfect time to burst, to spill about whatever issues that made us the fucked up person that we are today. And it is. But I guess some part of me would rather not put the weight of my problems on somebody else's shoulder. It would be fair to leave that to a person when I don't even know if we'll ever see each other again. Sooner rather than later, we both pass out on my bed, mugs left forgotten on the floor. Okay, so that was very short. When I wake, Whiskey is already gone. Thanks for the tea, Marianne. Whiskey. Ooh, he knows who we are. A bottle of painkillers and a note on the table that are the only evidence that I wasn't alone last night. I don't even question where these are from, or just how he knew my real name. I'm just grateful for something to help me with a hangover. Might as well. Journal update. I have a job to do. Now let's see, what does the journal have to say? And my laptop is buzzing right now. Humming. Whatever. Buzzing means something new. Marianne and Whiskey went back to her condo after having one too many drinks. However, Marianne changed her mind about the one-night stand and ended up sharing a tea with him instead. The next morning, the stranger left nothing but a note and a bottle of painkillers. I have a job to do. It's not funny.
It's not funny.
It isn't often that I think about drinking on the job. But after meeting with the Wrights yesterday, it really makes me want to break my self-imposed rules. Because first off, fucking damn, Whiskey was fucking damn Mr. Wright. And to top it all off, they had somehow forgotten to inform me that they didn't own the Ermengarde mansion yet when they hired me. What sort of person does that? I could do nothing but twiddle my thumbs at this, however. Twiddle my thumbs and wait for the go signal. It's not like I can accept other smaller projects. This is a big job and I should be ready to start on it at any time. Not to mention that my PA practically begged me to be patient and wait this out. It was a hard decision to agree, but I did so in the end. Besides, I'm doing this for the Ermengarde mansion, not for anything or anyone else. I'd have a headache whatever I do anyway. I'd go to the pub again, but seeing what happened a few days ago, I'd rather not end up in a bed with another potential client. And it might be a huge leap in logic, but the library is the next best thing after the pub. I have to go there anyway. I need more books for Dad. Plus, I also need to return the ones I borrowed last time. Finding a new book or two to read for myself while I have nothing to do isn't such a bad idea either. So on Saturday morning, I find myself going to the library in Luxburn to hopefully cool off. Ooh. After returning the Ursuli and a poetry book by Henry the Poet Brady, I asked the librarian about the several titles on my list, though I don't have much luck on that front. Dialogue with Death has already been snatched, and she bluntly said that she did not keep our mathematical universe for someone who didn't return books on time. That's not how libraries work, is it? You pay a fine. I make headway at least when I ask about Season rendition of Havana by Jacobo de Pezuela. Ah, wait, yeah, they don't hold books if you don't return the book. You are free to lend it out to someone else. Yeah, I can agree to that logic. If you count her snarling and pointing at the history section as headway, that is. The history section is devoid of any other except for myself and the redhead. Although at the wager I'd guess that the red's just passing by to get the classic literature section. And that redhead is Rebecca, but she's pink-haired. So many books, so little time. Scanning the books and seeing so many wonderful titles gives me great pleasure. And that's when I spot it. She is so different when she's in private. How do you not develop mental issues living so vastly different lives? History of Luxburn Architecture. That didn't need the Irish. First edition. It's not the naval battle. It's not the naval battle book I was looking for. No, it's even better. The newly acquired History of Luxburn Architecture, first edition too. I know I just had to get it. I have been waiting to get my hands on the book for so long. The fact that there is only one copy proves to be a problem though, when Red reaches out for it at the same time as I do. I can only stare her down when she refuses to let go of the book. Refusing to let go of it as well, I raise a brow at her in the hopes that the fact that I was significantly taller than her would intimidate the girl. Even then, she refused with a rebellious look. Oh! Bitch! A beat. She blinks and I can't help but smirk on my face. That is not a prerequisite to borrow a motherfucking book. Screw you, Marianne. What the hell? I know you want the book, but you don't have to be demeaning. Which is wiped off when she opens her mouth. This is not what I was expecting. Let's be honest, how many people would know these history facts? You even threw her a trick question! Aside from me, anyway. A trick question about architecture, about someone who is wanting to borrow an architecture book. How dumb are you? Suddenly it's a game where we throw these history questions and facts at each other. Back and forth, it hushes in hushed tones unless we want to be thrown out of the library. After a while, it goes from some strange competition into a strange but friendly banter, if it could be called that. But as fun as it is, the exchange soon slows down until we're grinning at how odd this whole scene is. Scotland versus Ireland. Is Scottish very close to Irish in terms of dialect? I don't know. By then we had forgotten about our little tug of war, although she still holds the book in her hands. I let go of it without realizing when she answered my first question. Math. Oh, I thought she said math. Maybe that was her parents. And Hana was guessing math. Corretes. Ah, yes, Saint Corretti. You'd think a school would choose a more appropriate saint name than saint to name themselves after, especially when they have very young students. Interior designer. Designer. I could have said that I was an architect, but there's no point in explaining why I wasn't one anymore. No. Clients. Ho ho ho! That we do. Intach. I need to find out what Intach means. Amazing. Intach. A pause. It looks like she wants to say something about my mentioning of the house. I'm not surprised. That place is certainly popular with the locals, especially with the urban legend that's attached to it. In the next second, though, she seems to think better of it and drops what she's about to say. The computer back at my place is all I have. Why should I buy such an expensive gadget that will just get outdated within the year when what I have is just as functional? The traditional ways had a far more personal touch in my opinion, not to mention those smartphones are awful tools of procrastination. I can't even count on one hand the number of people I see going outside, only to have their eyes glued to the things. And fuck touchscreens! They're evil things that make typing what should have been a simple task harder. Speaking, or thinking of the devil, seems to have summoned it, because before I can even carry on, Rebecca's attention wanes as she pulls out her mobile. For what I can only assume is a call, she gives me an apologetic look before she's standing up and excusing herself. Off further into the aisle she goes for some privacy. I do my best to give it to her as well, trying to tune her out. You have... Wow. Isabella has just sold the Ermengarde house and is now taking it out for dinner. Wow. But with how quiet the surrounding is, she can't blame me if I overhear snippets of a conversation. When she returns with a sheepish look on her face, I know that our friendly chat has to be cut short. Her embarrassment increases twofold when she realizes She's still holding on to history of Luxembourg architecture. I don't give her time to think about it, as I put a hand up and shake my head. Fishing out a pen and paper from my bag along with one of my business cards, I hand them over to her. She makes a quick work, penning her number down and handing it back to me with a grin. During school hours. Okay. Oh, I can just see them Irish and Scottish barbarians just having it, duking it out for friends. As being good friends, damn it. With Rebecca gone, I'm left alone standing in the history section. Although my original plan was simply to sit down and read a good book, or a little pop quiz, if you could call it that, made the time pass by without any of us even realizing it. It was fun, and I do believe I made a new friend. Good job, Marianne. Even with the talk of lunch, however, I don't feel like grabbing a bite to eat. There are still other books to read here, and I'm hoping to find something that will help me while I work with the rights. Something like How to Deal with Arsehole Professionally 101, just in case. I've dealt with a lot of uppity, snooty and rich clients before, but it's still better to be safe than sorry. Because Luke Wright just takes the fucking cake, and they probably managed to eat it too. That was wrong. It seems the world's conspiring to keep me from my me time, as my mobile vibrates in my pocket the moment I find something from the shelves of the classical literature section. Oh. Did you say copper? Not Cooper? I mean, it could be copper. Already? How did they go through the process so fast? Surely there is so many red tape to even acquire the forms in the transferring of rights. No matter how rich the rights are, it shouldn't be this quick, right? Miss Santos, Isabella Santos. I don't know. I just don't. It says some sort of deeper miscommunication when we last met. These things take time. It's been, what, a day? Less than that even. There isn't even a point in trying to make sense of these people who seem to be larger than life. As it looks like I'm on the clock starting today, I might as well eat. And I'm starting to lose my Irish. Marianne befriended Rebecca Gales during a visit to the library. Marianne received a call from Rose Cooper afterwards, informing her that the Ermengarde Mansion's floor plans were ready for pickup at their office. Oh yeah, that is terrifying. Grabbing some fish and chips from one of the street food stalls, I find a table to spend time with a copy of Marquise de Sade's The Crime of Love, since Rebecca left with a book I wanted. I read this one before, along with the rest of his works. This would be the 18th time, in fact. But it's always nice to read through it again, when I don't have the time to enjoy something new. Besides, when you're dealing with people so filthy rich that they just end up playing filthy, you need the good old Marquis sound advice. Consequence. The wound being without any consequence. Of course, it's folly to think that things have no consequence when everything actually does. Briar Realty Corporation Luxbourne branch isn't too far off from the city center, just a few blocks away, and I can easily eat and walk. I'd rather use this time to rest before I go into a flurry of activity. No doubt there will be so much to do once we get hands-on with the mansion. Surely, no matter how much BRC and the old owners put into the restoration and preservation of the place, any big repairs would be superficial at most. I am quite certain that in their haste to sell the property, they did a rush job. It isn't an infrequent thing to do despite how it's frowned upon. There will be a lot of hidden issues that I will need to weed out, and I have to make sure I find every single one of them, especially the more serious damages. Structural integrity is definitely on top of the list we'll have to consider. The building might look sturdy, but it is centuries old. That alone will likely pose a few problems here and there, but limitations on what we can do. Besides, despite how much I detest these rich snobs, they can pay rather handsomely, so long as I do an excellent job and do more than necessary. Those two things always made sure that referrals keep coming. I don't even have to hunt down projects for myself. Now we're back here. When I do go up to BRC's office, I can't help but stop and stare when I enter the building. With the lunch hour closing, employees should have been back already, but they still aren't filtering through the doors. Well, I think everyone's dead after working at the Ermengarde mansion. I get that it's a Saturday, that people probably feel tired and lazy to be working on a weekend. But it's still on the clock, and not bumming about wasting company time on extended lunch breaks and cigarette sessions. The office is spacious, as it is with these big corporations. Each person is given their little space of what's usually a 2x2 meter cubicle. There's a lot more empty chairs than there are actual people working at their desks. It reminds me far too much of my last day at Pariskova projects, during the massive layoffs due to the Irish economic crisis. Oh, okay. So this is a fictional crisis, not the one that happened in the 90s, I guess. But she's only 30, so she wouldn't be old enough to be working during that anyway. But it isn't just that though. Everything is as quiet as a grave. It's as if these people are merely ghosts. Speaking of ghosts, Santos coming through the door looking as she's just seen one. Well, she did. In the window. Now, where was it? Here it was. Scary as all hell. She looks at me, wide-eyed, like a deer caught in the headlights, ready to bolt at any moment. I'd ask out of concern, but I feel it's not my position to do so. What if it's something personal? I'd simply be overstepping my boundaries. Really, it's none of my business. Oh yeah. You don't have to be so fucking harsh about it. Jeez. She flinches and looks like she doesn't quite know how to respond to that. Thankfully, instead of opening her mouth, she leads the way towards the station and goes to fetch the floor plans. It won't take too long, as she said, but it does take a bit. Time spent to compose herself, most likely. Not that you would know. Oh, okay. Dude, you were born in a fucking dumpster. You have nothing to say. Jeez, you are a pretentious... Woo! You probably have your nose stuck in front of a smartphone and you're not working, and even when you should be working, playing those mindless, addictive games. How old do you think? Right, you think she's 18. I think that was mentioned. Maybe that was Hana saying. Someone thought she was 18, but she's 26. And Marianne is 30. She's only 4 years younger than you. Stop being such a prick. I definitely wish Chris would stop playing that Batcat thing during work hours too. Wait, what? Oh! Oh, that would make for a sick minigame for this game. We did have this in The Suicide of Rachel Foster. That you would actually walk around the mansion seeing what it all looks like. If we can have that, oh, that would be so cool if we could just have that in this game too. Yeah, it's not that kind of game though. Holy crap, they have their own theater? Study room, bedroom, balcony, hallway, balcony, balcony, hallway, too small to read. Quarters? Master's bedroom? Yeah, quarters. Basement, hall, music room? God damn. Parlor, monitor? This looks like bathrooms. Foyer, porch, dining hall, kitchen, gallery, hall, quarters. Quarters for the working people, I'm assuming. Garden. Dude, why isn't this entire thing a garden? Maybe this is just a space taker, or whatever it's called. Attic. Checking out the floor plans, I see that I'll have a lot going on for me. Now I know how Ray felt when he found the Central Park West building floor plans from that one movie. This is why I became an architect in the first place. Jacobean style at its finest. It's a thing of beauty. Look at these gorgeous rooms. The delicate harmony between empty spaces. And speaking of empty spaces, there's something rather odd about these ones. Oh. There had been little details here and there that I would have liked to address during the open house too, but it was all forgotten in the wake of Miss Santos' incident and the trouble with ownership. The wine cellar is going to be a problem. I should think of what sort of repairs they did to their place. There might have been things that were swept under the rug, pushed to the dark corner of the rooms and hidden away in barrels. Water damage could have been covered up. There had been floods due to heavy rains in West England just last year after all, and if there is any sort of damage to the house foundation, it's going to be a lot of work. I was not able to look at the attic as well. For all I know, a whole family of vermin could have made their nest there. Working with pest control is always the worst. The sheer size of this place is staggering, even if I did just say it was a lot smaller than I thought. I might just be biting up more than I can chew, but who doesn't like a good challenge? First thing first, I have to... Yeah. I have to stamp down my annoyance at being distracted. Seeing the girl, the young woman though, it looks like she has a lot on her mind. If babbling is her way of dealing with stray thoughts, I'm not really the one she should be babbling to. How should I respond? You have something to say? I don't have time for this. Oh, how much of an ass are we going to be? I want her to be nice. I give her time to speak up. Yeah, plus there. But yeah, after what happened in the park, really can't see how those two are gonna get along. I give her time to speak up. But when she just stares, I clear my throat. As embarrassment creeps up on her face, I snatch one of the coffees from her and take a sip. Too hot. Ooh, that's a good question. I didn't expect to hear such questions from her, seeing how well she handled herself yesterday. I didn't doubt, then, why she was assigned to an important sale like the Ermengarde mansion, despite the little accident she had. Now, she just looks too young, too nervous and unsure of herself, although her enthusiasm must make up for that in spades. In fact, I wouldn't have believed it if she had introduced herself the way she is at the moment. Why, watching her now, she actually looks like she should still be in college. Acts a bit like it too when I think about it. I thought she was a teen slumming it out in the mansion when I first saw her there, lying on the ground. Surprise, surprise, she turned out to be one of the estate agents handling the property. I don't even know what to make of the whole meltdown that happened with that strange document. And now we have 2 updates here, so let's check the branching tree. Don't know. You have something to say. Story update. Common root. I'm guessing it's updated for something that happens far into the future here. Oh fuck, regardless of what we do, Marianne is gonna die at the end. Shit. That's my theory. I don't even know what to make of that whole meltdown that happened with that strange document. If I were the client, I would have been very upset. She'd be in hot water for it. Dude, I would love, if I could afford it, I would, if I had a mansion like that, I would just fill it to the brim with cool new art, not some fancy shit. No. I'm gonna, if I can, I would bring the nerd to the room. I would bring the furry, I would bring the nerd. That's me. Maybe I took it a bit too far. She bites her cheek, and it looks like she's barely holding herself back. She mutters it under her breath. I barely even hear it. But the hurt is there. And it makes one wonder what brought it on. Now let's see how that updated. Yeah, we were here, common root, story update. Oh. We could have gotten a different update here. I see. Although it is understandable if I reason what I think it is. Very few people make it big in the art world. I can see why she'd be upset about it with that enthusiasm. I didn't have a choice when I left Ireland. It was that or years of unemployment. The recession and the toll it took to the construction industry was out of anyone's control. I don't know what choice she wasn't able to make, whether it was about her being in an art school or something else. But the world isn't a fair place. Jesus! How many story updates are we gonna get here? And as soon as she accepts it, the better. Still, with that forlorn look on her face, I can't help but sigh. The girl reminds me far too much of myself when I was younger. She's at least trying. You know, that's something. That's a good burn. But you're working at... Shouldn't this be well paid? I mean, when I worked at the post office here in Sweden, I made... what is it? $2,100 every month. And that was... I managed to pay off all my debt with that. Well, all of it. Most of it. Until I started getting nightmares of going back to work and things like that. I just couldn't handle it anymore. That's why I went back to the amusement park in Gröna Lund. And that's why I decided, one of the reasons why I decided to start with YouTube. Because I needed to do something that I was happy to do, you know. The tools and materials aren't exactly cheap either. But yeah, exactly. If you have a yeah, sure, rent there. I always live in fairly cheap buildings. Maybe that's no reason, but she lives in very small too. She should be able to afford it. Pretentious. And I mean, I was saying the same thing, but she is still being pretentious about it. Right, she is sending money back home. A strained air settles in the room afterwards. Yeah, she's a bitch. She thinks she lives She did live a hard-knock life, no doubt, but she's still being a bitch about it. Marianne visited BRC to pick up the floor plans. She was assisted by Isabella Santos, and the two shared a brief talk about art, which ended with Marianne leaving a piece of advice to Isabella. It doesn't help that she doesn't immediately leave, as she has said, lingering awkwardly by the door with a downcast expression. It's clear there's more she means to say, perhaps even to defend herself and her choices in life. Or is she expecting me to dish out more of that advice? It's an awkward affair, and I choose to hightail out of the realty office as quick as I can. Though I am able to keep myself professional at all times, it does not mean I like it. And seeing that most of the day has already gone by before I realize it, I choose to head back to my flat instead. And that is actually where I cut off for today's episode. We have just finished talking to Isabella. We're done with the BRC Realty, and now we are going back to our flat instead. So yeah. I am very much disliking Marianne at the moment. She has great interests, but a piss poor personality, it would seem. Yeah, we'll see where we end up after this. And if you want to watch anything else that I've been playing, you can find it at the bottom of the screen. And remember, Just because you're not the main character doesn't mean you're not important. Goodbye, everyone.